Hey guys, it's Quint. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about my experience so far starting to learn Vietnamese, as well as my experience with using SVFF. SVFF stands for Southern Vietnamese For Foreigners. They are a company that specializes in teaching the Southern Vietnamese dialect. And I really like their courses that I've gone through so far with them. The reason I like it so much is it's all one-on-one tutoring that you have with somebody. And what I like about it is that there is a focus of, in the very beginning, they work very hard with you on pronunciation. And for those of you that might not be familiar, when you're starting to learn a foreign language for the first time, pronunciation can really be one of the most important things to focus on. I've known in other languages that I've studied in the past, if the pronunciation wasn't focused, if I didn't put a lot of emphasis and focus on it at the beginning, then it was a lot harder to communicate. And what's so cool about this program with these tutors is they actually go over with you not just the correct pronunciation, but they show you where you need to articulate things with your mouth, where your tongue needs to be, where your teeth need to be, where your mouth has to move open or closed, and how it relates to similar vowels and consonants in English. And then they show you just how to modify it slightly in order to get to the Vietnamese pronunciation. So kind of a cool experience I had with this recently. I started learning Vietnamese about a month and a half ago, and the first 2 weeks I was just getting free material from offline, and I found one course that was Vietnamese conversations, and what they did is they had a conversation and then they would break it down, they'd make it go more slowly, and then they break down the individual words that were a part of it. The whole time you're supposed to be listening and repeating back what the native speakers are saying. And I liked it, but one thing I thought was interesting is I tried as hard as I could to mimic them, and yet I couldn't follow through on it. And I kind of was there, but my pronunciation was still not very good. So why is this? Why do we do this as people? Well, when our brain hears a sound that it's not used to, or I should say a sound that we haven't made with our mouth before, our brain tries to associate it to a similar sound that we've already can make. So as a native English speaker, if I'm learning Vietnamese and there's a vowel or a consonant that I don't know, when I hear it, if it's similar to another vowel or consonant in English, my brain's automatically going to try to organize it with that in order to better understand. And this makes sense because when somebody speaks to us maybe with a slur or there's a problem in their speech but they're speaking English, usually we can still understand them given context and the word kind of just fits in place. Well, why is that? Well, because our brain is still trying to associate it with English and it can kind of figure out what they're trying to do. So the problem is, if we're trying to learn a foreign language and they have a sound we don't know, then our brain's going to try to still make that association. So the native speaker can say something and then we try to repeat it back, but then the issue is we hear one thing and what they're saying is totally different. And so what's really cool about this is, so going back to my analogy with the course I was listening to, the free course. So I did that for about 2 weeks almost, and I was listening to it once in the morning, once in the evening, not really seeing a whole lot of progress. I went with SVFF and I've been with them for 3 weeks and doing a lot of pronunciation exercises and drills. And I was very happy because at the end of that, I went to go listen to the pronunciation course or the other course again, just having the dialogue, and I was able to match the native speakers, follow through, and I was matching them right intonation. There were a few syllables that I stumbled on, but for the most part, everything was good. And then at the end, they had separate dialogue within different conversations using all the words that they taught in the previous conversation. And I was able to understand everything that they were saying because the words just popped out of the sentences. I didn't even really have to try to understand. It was still basic conversation, but my mind was able to grab it all and just kind of, it was amazing. Like, I've had experiences like this before in other languages, but usually after having to study for a long time, to kind of get to that point. And so I would just like to say that I think pronunciation really is the most important thing you could start off with, especially with Vietnamese, and how important that is because of how difficult and different the pronunciation is. So if you would like to learn more about SVFF or you want to see my continuing progress, I'll be making more videos about my progress with them. So feel free to just subscribe, and yeah, have a great day.